we know it wasn't. So what do we see from you next year? What are your plans?
My team prepare for me next year fight. I want fight with it's Daniel bronze bomber.
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, Deontay Wilder. Yeah. I want this fight. I think Deontay too wanna. Okay, let's go.
And look, we all know that Deontay Wilder is no longer in his prime, but I still find the fight interesting, and I imagine the reason you do too is because he's one of the biggest names of your era, and you want to beat all the biggest names in what is Oleksandr Usyk's era. Is that right?
It's biggest names. This is man last 10 year top fighter. It's I think for me it's a great fight.
And of course, he's one of the biggest punchers, if not the biggest puncher in heavyweight history. I'm assuming that interests you too, trying to see how if you can knock him out.
Yeah, March again this year. I say again.
Oh, and of course, Deontay Wilder is one of the biggest punchers in heavyweight history, but you're a pretty big puncher too. You know, even though you're coming from cruiserweight, we saw you knock out Dubois, we saw you hurt Tyson Fury and drop him, so maybe you have the bigger punch.
Я уже понял. Maybe, but
what is this bronze bomber mentality? Is it a real thing? And if it is, does he need to get it back? Is he capable of getting it back at this stage in his career after two, performances against Zhilei Zhang, against Joseph Parker that were just not reflective of what we recognise to be Deontay Wilder? Can he do that? And if he does he have any chance against Oleksandr Usyk?
He's got every chance against Oleksandr Usyk. You know, he could be. No. But listen, because he's such a dangerous puncher. I'm not saying it. Listen, if I was a gambling man, I wouldn't say he would beat Usyk, and I don't think he would beat Usyk. I don't think he will beat Usyk. But him out of all the other heavyweights, because he's such a dangerous puncher, this guy sounds to be rejuvenated in some ways. When I spoke to him when I started a YouTube channel, and he gave me a lot of time, and he said to me he had a lot of...
Don't start promoting other stuff on YouTube.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I just thought I'd throw it in.
Okay.
No, but he said that he had a lot of personal problems, as Spenny already alluded to, and now he's dealt with these personal problems and managed to get a hold of everything. And he's got a tick box. He's put everything in his box and everything in his space. He's got a clear head now, so he might go into this fight with Usyk, full of vigor and determination.
Usyk has announced he wants to fight you, Deontay Wilder, the bronze bomber, one of the greatest of this generation in the heavyweight division. Do you want to fight Usyk? Is that the fight that's in negotiation?
Man, when he said that, in my mind, I already said I accept, but I haven't publicly said it. So I'm gonna look right here in this camera and say, Usyk, I appreciate the opportunity, and I accept.
When Usyk was asked about his next opponent, Usyk put Wilder's name out there, and it spread fast. Fans and experts weren't expecting it, and even after criticism, neither side backed away. Wilder responded and said he's ready. He has even started preparing for it. What started as a mention turned into a real matchup. People are now watching closely.
Could you tell them that he had that kind of power? That would translate into pros? Wilder.
Wilder got beast power, bro.
In the amateurs, yeah?
No, but Wilder is one of the hardest hitting heavyweights I've ever seen.
What does he need to do to beat Usyk?
Hit him hard. Hit him, bro, that's it. Knock him out.
Usyk spoke about Wilder as if this fight has already been on his mind for a long time, and he is not backing away from the idea. He made it clear that Wilder is the opponent he wants next, and talked as if both sides are already thinking the same way.
So, what do we see from you next year? What are your plans?
My team prepare for me next year fight. I want fight with it's Daniel bronze bomber.
Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, Deontay Wilder. Yeah. I want this fight. I think Deontay too wanna. Okay, let's go.
And look, we all know that Deontay Wilder is no longer in his prime, but I still find the fight interesting, and I imagine the reason you do too is because he's one of the biggest names of your era, and you want to beat all the biggest names in what is Oleksandr Usyk's era. Is that right?
It's biggest names. This is man last 10 year top fighter.
Usyk pointed to what Wilder has been over the last 10 years and why that still matters, saying his name still carries real weight in the heavyweight division. He openly acknowledged Wilder's knockout power and didn't try to downplay how dangerous that is, but he also didn't sound nervous about it.
I think for me it's a great fight.
And of course, he's one of the biggest punchers, if not the biggest puncher in heavyweight history. I'm assuming that interests you too, trying to see how if you can knock him out.
Yeah, March again this year. I say again.
Oh, and of course, Deontay Wilder is one of the biggest punchers in heavyweight history, but you're a pretty big puncher too. You know, even though you're coming from cruiserweight, we saw you knock out Dubois, we saw you hurt Tyson Fury and drop him, so maybe you have the bigger punch.
Я уже понял. Maybe, but
When it came to Wilder's reaction, he made it clear that the moment he heard Usyk's name linked to him, his decision was already made. When he finally addressed it, he treated it like a real opportunity, not something he needed time to think about or weigh options on. What stood out is that Wilder did not talk about negotiations, conditions, or timing. He showed respect to Usyk and framed the call-out as something he welcomed rather than questioned.
Usyk has announced he wants to fight you, Deontay Wilder, the bronze bomber, one of the greatest of this generation in the heavyweight division. Do you want to fight Usyk? Is that the fight that's in negotiation?
Man, when he said that, you know, in my mind, I already said I accept, but I haven't publicly said it. So I'm gonna look right here in this camera and say, Usyk, I appreciate the opportunity, and I accept.
Amir Khan focused on one thing only, Wilder's power. From his point of view, Wilder has always been a problem because of how hard he hits. For him, that power is real and still dangerous. He made it clear that against someone like Usyk, Wilder does not need a long plan. In his mind, there is only one way this works for Wilder, and that is landing a clean shot and ending it.
Could you tell then that he had that kind of power? That would translate into pros? Wilder.
Wilder got beast power, bro.
In the amateurs, yeah?
No, but Wilder is one of the hardest hitting heavyweights I've ever seen. Ever seen.
What does he need to do to beat Usyk?
Hit him hard. Hit him, bro. That's it. Knock him out.
Pat Brown was clearly surprised Usyk even mentioned Wilder, especially with how recent performances have gone. Still, he didn't dismiss Wilder as harmless. He pointed out that Wilder's flaws are obvious, but his power keeps him dangerous no matter who he fights. Brown also suggested that Usyk might be chasing names from his generation rather than the toughest challenge available right now, which explains why Wilder still appeals to him.
After the fight with Deontay Wilder, are you surprised by that development?
I am, to be fair, yeah, because obviously everyone thinks Wilder's over and out.
Yep.
And, you know, style-wise, he's not the best on his feet. He's known just to have that massive right hand, so he's always going to be dangerous in any fight he's in. But in terms of excitement, I would prefer to watch Usyk in against, you know, someone who deserves to be there to fight for the belt. Like Wilder, I don't know. I don't know if I would. Like, I genuinely think Usyk will just.
I think from Usyk's point of view, I think that he's just looking at it and going, he wants the best of this generation. And Wilder, all right, he's not right now, but it's a box.
Simon Jordan viewed the Usyk versus Wilder idea from a broader perspective. He questioned what Usyk really gains from it at this stage. In his view, Usyk has already beaten the best heavyweights of this era while they were active and relevant. Because of that, Simon felt Wilder no longer ticks a sporting box for Usyk. He leaned more toward the idea that this fight makes sense mainly because of money and attention, not because it adds much to Usyk's legacy.
Do you really think, I know you made that point last week, and we often talk about what the media thinks of things and optics of this. Do you really think in the fighting, in the mind of Oleksandr Usyk, that's won everything that needs to be won? He's beaten the best as they are now. He's beaten Daniel Dubois twice. He's beaten Tyson Fury twice. He's beaten Anthony Joshua twice. This is not the best version of Deontay Wilder anymore. He's fought all the best. So why would he need to tick that box? Some legacy that someone's going to talk about in 10 years' time.
Well, let's flip it then. So where else does he go? Like, for him, that's the least dangerous fight.
It's
what
the
I'm saying
most
is he ticks all the boxes.
So it's the most money, really, isn't it?
Commercially, it's probably still a massive fight,
It's the most money.
Duke McKenzie focused more on Wilder himself, examining his mental and physical state. He talked about Wilder opening up about personal struggles and how that affected his performances. Duke felt that if Wilder had truly cleared his head and feels settled again, that alone makes him a threat. He did not say Wilder should be favored, but he made it clear that power like that always gives someone a chance, even against someone as sharp and consistent as Usyk.
What is this bronze bomber mentality? Is it a real thing? And if it is, Does he need to get it back? Is he capable of getting it back at this stage in his career after two, performances against Zhilei Zhang, against Joseph Parker that were just not reflective of what we recognise to be Deontay Wilder? Can he do that? And if he does he have any chance against Oleksandr Usyk?
He's got every chance against Oleksandr Usyk. He could be.
Pack it in, Joe.
No. But listen, because he's such a dangerous puncher. I'm not saying it. Listen, if I was a gambling man, I wouldn't say he would beat Usyk, and I don't think he would beat Usyk. I don't think he will beat Usyk. But him out of all the other heavyweights, because he's such a dangerous puncher, this guy sounds to be rejuvenated in some ways. When I spoke to him I started a YouTube channel, and he gave me a lot of time, and he said to me he had a lot of...
Don't start promoting other stuff on YouTube.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I just thought I'd throw it in.
Okay.
No, but he said that he had a lot of personal problems, as Spenny already alluded to. And now he's dealt with these personal problems and managed to get a hold of everything. And he's got a tick box. He's put everything in his box and everything in his space. He's got a clear head now. So he might go into this fight with Usyk, full of vigour and determination.
Gareth Davies' angle was mainly about timing and logic. He made it clear that this fight is not about belts or rankings anymore. From his point of view, Usyk has already done what champions are supposed to do. Beat everyone around him, twice in some cases. So when Usyk brings up Wilder, Davies saw it less as a challenge and more as a personal choice. It felt like Usyk looking at what excites him now, not what the system tells him to do next.
That he wants a little bit of a showdown with Deontay Wilder. When he first said it, Gareth, I actually thought that he was on the wind-up. However, he's doubled down on it. He said it a couple more times. What have you made of Oleksandr Usyk's rhetoric of wanting to take on Deontay Wilder in his next fight?
Well, I mentioned it earlier on when we were having our discussion about the World Boxing Council that you go back in time and, Muhammad Ali fought Floyd Patterson twice, Mike Tyson fought Larry Holmes, and with all of these, for the great fighters, for the great heavyweights at least in this case, and you could say the same at light heavyweight with Joe Calzaghe and Roy Jones Jr., people like to bookend an era. They like to close off an era. You've already said it, I've said it myself, that there's that expression we use in boxing that the fact that Oleksandr Usyk's beaten Daniel Dubois twice, once in Poland and once here, and he kind of crossed the T's and dotted the I's on that one in that second fight quite brilliantly at Wembley earlier this year, and beat Tyson Fury twice last year for the undisputed crown, and dealt with Anthony Joshua, who was seen as a difficult problem for him at the beginning when he stepped up from cruiserweight.
Davies leaned into the idea of closing chapters. He looked at this as Usyk wanting to finish off his heavyweight story properly. In his view, great fighters often go back and face names that define the era, even if those names are past their best. That is where Wilder fits in. Gareth did not sell it as the toughest fight available. He framed it as Usyk wanting one last dangerous name on the list before walking away.
He completed the era, didn't he? But to truly complete the era, when people look back in 20 years' time, which was what I'm saying about Tyson and Holmes and Patterson and Ali, when people look back historically, I think it's piqued his curiosity. I think the teams, as I understand anyway, the teams, Shelley Finkel in New York for Wilder, been talking about this behind the scenes. Shelley Finkel wanted Deontay Wilder to fight Anthony Joshua, but Eddie Hearn would not push that forward for some reason. I think it was a good fight for Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, but Oleksandr Usyk's taken a few months off. He's played beach volleyball, whatever he does in Spain. He's out building properties in Thailand at the moment. He's growing his empire. He's growing his hair. He looks half human again, doesn't he? And you can tell he's on holiday. No, but he's got a holiday element about him. But he's just had a little look and thought, you know what? I'm going to ask the WBC if I can get Deontay Wilder in the ring, and it's to our point of earlier. He's having a fight off. There are risks. Wilder's still got power, but he can't pull the trigger. This is an ending.
Where Adam Catterall got critical was around the rules and the WBC. He pushed the point that if Usyk chooses Wilder, the belts should not be held hostage. He made it clear that fighters who actually earned a shot are waiting their turn. For him, the issue was not Usyk fighting Wilder. It was the sport bending rules to allow it, while others are left waiting. That part bothered him more than the matchup itself.
Don't think it does really right now, but I understand your point there of bookending the whole era. What I will say though is that if he is to decide that he is going to do a fight with Deontay Wilder, then the sanctioning bodies have got to govern the sport properly. We've got an interim champion with the WBC. How many belts do we need? Ajit Kabayel is waiting for his shot. at the WBC full title. If Oleksandr Usyk wants to fight Deontay Wilder, you can't give him a voluntary. Just because Deontay Wilder used to be the champion and is currently number 13 in the WBC, you've got an interim champion who is defending his belt, by the way, in Germany. That's ridiculous. The whole point of having an interim champion is to move the division along when the full champion is not ready and able to fight. Well, he's ready and able to fight. So you either make the fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Ajit Kabayel. If Usyk doesn't want to do it, cool. Give us the belt back. Let Ajit Kabayel crack on and become the WBC full champion. And Usyk can have his move around with Wilder if he wants.
Well, we got to.
Frank Warren looked at Usyk choosing Wilder as a clear risk versus reward decision. The way he broke it down, Usyk is no longer chasing belts or proving anything. He has already done that. From Frank's point of view, Usyk is now picking fights that make sense for him personally and financially. He felt Usyk sees more danger than reward in some mandatory options, even if they sell well, and that is why Wilder is even being considered.
What's the reaction, Frank, from you and Fabio about Usyk's decision not to defend or to fight Fabio Wardley? He has no interest in that fight, would have had an interest in the Joseph Parker fight if Joseph Parker had won, and wants to fight Deontay Wilder. What's your overall reaction to that little state of affairs?
Well, before the fight, he did say that he would fight the winner. He did go on record as saying that, and since then he said no. I think and if I was his manager, I'd be looking, or himself, and he's a smart operator, Alex is, and he's done everything that's been asked of him. And he's looking at fights now for risk and reward. And I just feel that he thinks that the risk for the reward is not justified. Although I believe we would sell out a football stadium with that fight. You know, you think how many we done, 25,000 up in Ipswich on a real rainy night with Fabio, and you think if he's in with Usyk, you'd do a Tottenham all day long. So we'll see where we go with it. But you know, Fabio will be boxing in April.
Aid Oladipo leaned heavily on the idea that this version of Wilder is not the same one people still talk about. Aid pointed out that the fear factor around Wilder has been gone for a while. Recent fights showed hesitation, slower reactions, and a lack of confidence. For him, the idea that this fight still hangs on the one-punch narrative does not really match what we have been seeing in the ring.
Bear in mind, Deontay Wilder hasn't been the bronze bomber, if you like, since he stopped Hellenius in, what was it, a minute or whatever it was. That was 4 years ago, 3 years ago. It's just such a strange call out. I don't understand it. Is it one of those almost legacy call outs because of what Deontay Wilder was? You know, a long reign in WBC heavyweight champion. I don't quite understand it. If I'm Deontay Wilder and his manager Shelley Finkel, oh my God, it's like jackpot. I mean, it's not a case of Wilder calling Usyk out. Usyk's called Wilder out. You're like, okay, yeah, we're cool, we're ready, we're good to go. What an opportunity this is for Deontay Wilder, right? I mean, and although I don't think he can pull the trigger anymore, I mean, there'll be some, if this fight does get made, and who knows, right? There'll be some that will say, oh, but it only takes one. I mean, that will still be the narrative with Wilder, even though that really isn't the case anymore. I saw that with Zhang, I saw that with Joseph Parker, and to an extent I saw it in his last fight.
Where Aid became more critical was around rankings and fairness. He questioned how the best heavyweight in the world should even be allowed to fight someone who might not crack the top tier anymore. Past achievements matter, but he felt current form should matter more. From his point of view, there are fighters doing the work right now who deserve that opportunity ahead of Wilder.
I don't know if you can vacate your WBO belt, like, not avoid Fabio Wardley, because I don't think Usyk avoids anyone, but kind of drop down that far. Like, I actually think if I were to do a top 15, top 20 heavyweight list, I don't think Wilder will make my top 20. So I don't know if the number one in the world should be allowed to fight someone outside of the top 20 because of that person's previous history. In saying that, Tyson Fury fought Francis Ngannou, right? But yeah, I just feel like Oleksandr Usyk's better than that. I've always felt like Usyk was the guy, next man up type dude. And I still believe he is that. And look, this fight might not happen, but I just, nah. No, there are too many worthy challengers. And the most obvious two now are Fabio Wardley and Agit Kabayel. They're the most obvious two, but there are others, but those are the obvious two.
The Showbiz Adult believes Usyk is a bad matchup for Wilder because of how he stays in a fighter's face while never staying in the same spot. He brought up how Wilder struggles when punches are coming back at him, using the Parker fight as the clear example. When someone keeps touching him and then moves away fast, Wilder spends more time trying to find them than throwing his own shots. Showbiz feels Usyk does this better than anyone in the division, and that constant pressure and movement is why he sees the fight ending with Usyk stopping Wilder.
No matter what anyone says, people gonna watch that damn fight and be holding their breath the whole time. I got Usyk knocking him out, because I figured something out about Wilder. If there's punches in his face, he can't punch. And Joseph Parker did that. Joseph Parker either had punches in his face or he was way over there. So the whole time, Wilder was just trying to find. That brother was like, pop, pop, pop. Brother, as soon as he opened his eyes back, Joseph Parker was way over there. Nobody's gonna keep fists in Wilder's face more than Usyk. With the footwork, pop, 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 pop. You know, and then he's gonna be way over there. I think Usyk stops him.
No matter how you break it down, this fight has people split. Some believe Wilder only needs one clean shot and it changes everything. Others feel Usyk's movement, pressure, and ability to stay sharp for every second will slowly take that power away. It's one of those matchups where styles really decide the story, and that's why fans can't stop talking about it. Let us know in the comments below who you've got winning this fight and why.